Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about a great coding tool that I use in my classrooms all the time. And I love it. It's free. It is very quick. You can just jump on right now. I use it with my Google account, so I do sign on to my Google account and then use it. But it didn't require me to do any kind of setup. I didn't have to put in a credit card. I didn't have to download anything. It is called freecodecamp.org, and I have used it with students as young as grade 5, all the way up through professional development. So I have that window open, and then in another browser tab, I have open w3schools.com, which I've talked about quite a bit in my lessons and online. And I think that they go hand in hand. So when I need an example, I'll switch over to W3 Schools and grab something and go back into Free Code Camp and try it out. I love to have different resources, and I love to have lots of different vocabulary and tags at my fingertips. And that's what I use W3 Schools for. If I am setting up a lesson in freecodecamp.org and I am starting from zero, I am just starting from an absolute beginner level. I can do anything that I feel is really super simple using HTML. So what I usually do is I have some little cards that I've made that are show the result of the HTML on one side. That's the result. And then I have the code on the other side. So I do have these on my webpage, and I have hundreds of these, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these. I made these mainly because um, they're fun, they're colorful, they're UV coated, so lots of little hands can pick them up and touch them and bend them and play with them and look at them and really figure out, okay, what line am I on? I've tried to keep these, even though this is a JavaScript sample example, I've tried to keep these fairly simplistic and not too many lines of code. So when I am starting my lesson, I have in mind exactly where I want everybody to start with their HTML. So, for instance, I could just say, okay, we're going to start with an H1, with a heading 1. And how do I go ahead and set that up into HTML? And I can do that right in freecodecamp.org. I can see exactly what my result is in that browser. So I don't have to have anything else open. I don't have to fool around with files. I don't have to make a folder and then make a text file and then an HTML file. I can do it all in the browser, and I can do it all real time. This is really super important if I'm teaching a lot of kids, if I am teaching kids at different levels, if I am teaching kids with different age groups, and I have kids coming in and out. This is fantastic. So for my kids who understand HTML, who've done a little bit before, I give them some harder assignments. For my kids who this is all brand new to them, I can go ahead and start with something really super simplistic. Plus, Free Code Camp has its own curriculum. So if I wanted to, I could just use their examples and go through what they're saying. Okay, do heading 1 first, and then move into this, and then move into this, and then move into this. The way I usually structure my HTML classes is I talk about very basic structure. So I talk about parts of the head first, and then I talk parts of the body. And so we'll go into an H1, we'll go into a paragraph, we'll talk about what tags mean. I like to throw a little bit of style in there because style is fun and it's colorful and you get to see your results right away. I then jump into images because we live in such a visual world and so many apps are built with images, and I feel like kids really connect with images. They really connect with taking pictures of themselves all the time and posting pictures and replying to pictures, and I just feel like when you can create an HTML page and you can put an image in there, there's a lot of learning centered around that. You're understanding tags, you're starting to understand where things go. From headings and images, I then go into paragraphs. I go into, again, a little bit of style. Then I throw in links. Then I start formulating the page and saying, okay, let's go ahead and we'll put in maybe a different section. We'll put in an article. We'll put in a footer. I'll talk about how we can style each of those. I will talk about why we style them. I will talk about then what types of different headings there are. So there's not just what in H1, which is what Google references when it's searching for web pages, but there's H2 through H6. I talk about why we have certain web pages. I throw a lot of examples in there. What do we like? What are we looking for in web pages? What do you like in web pages? What colors do you use? Do you use background images? Which are, that's old school. Do you use lots of whites? Do you use, are you a very colorful person and you like to have everything in blues? What kind of example can we go ahead and research and figure out, okay, who's using purples, who's using blues? What are company logos and brands and what are they using? On my web page, I have whole sections on colors and how those colors are used in brands that we all know and love. So I get really great brands and I say, okay, this is why Coke uses red. This is why Target uses red. Are you interested in building something that has a lot of red in it? You know, what is your, we talk about different HTML shades and font colors. It just sort of makes it more realistic and more fun. When I have a group of students that is all different types of skill sets, I like to have stuff ready on the fly for them to change. So I always have, besides my cards that I have in a little rotating kiosk that they can just pick off and do themselves, I also have one of these that I highly recommend having. Love, 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 love this. This is from W3 Schools, and it is a color chart. I absolutely love this. And so students can go in and say, okay, I've created a section or a div, and I'm going to go ahead and make that a specific color or a link a specific color, or I am going to make a navigation bar and I'm going to hover above it and I'm going to make those colors different from when I'm not hovering on it. And really just trying to make sense of what piece is what. And then I test everything and I go into my W3 validator web page and I figure out, okay, what code is what am I missing if I am doing anything incorrectly in my code. And I just keep it really hands-on, and we're just constantly testing and messing around with the HTML, which I feel is the very best way to learn. So you can find all of these links in this broadcast in the little comments below. And I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will be back reviewing more websites and what I do in my classes. Thank you.